NFL free agency starts on Wednesday, although you and I know that it actually starts on Monday when players and teams can actually negotiate. But tonight, we will have 5 predictions for the Dallas Cowboys, and these are realistic predictions. So stay tuned. And spoiler alert, it's actually technically 15 predictions that you'll get from me tonight on primetime. So without any further ado, thank you for joining the show. Do me a favor and hit the like button. Share the stream if you like what you see. And now that more of us are here, let's get ready to start the show officially. Here we go. What is up, everybody, and welcome into A to Z Sports Dallas Primetime. I am your host, Mauricio Rodriguez, streaming with you live every Sunday through Thursday night at 8 p.m. Central here on Dallas On Demand Sports Talk Network with a lot more content coming your way. Make sure that you check out a2csports.com/Dallas. And as always, remember that Primetime is brought to you by our friends over at FreemanMazda.net. We will talk more about them and the ride of the week in a few moments here on the show. But before we do any of that, welcome everyone into the show. We have 5 realistic predictions lined up for us regarding the Cowboys free agency. A couple of spoiler alerts. It's actually 15 because we will predict whether or not some of the top in-house free agents will be re-signed or not by the Cowboys. And most of these predictions are not based on, we're not going to look at, for example, more spoiler alerts, Bobby Wagner, Hargrave. We're not going to look at many of those top tier free agents. These are actually a vast majority of in-house decisions that the Cowboys will likely reach here over the next few days. A little bit of a fresh reminder for all of you. Free agency starts on Wednesday, quote unquote, but in reality, it kind of starts tomorrow. So it's going to be a big week in the NFL. The reason why is that players and teams that are, players that are on expiring contracts can start negotiating with NFL teams starting on Monday, legally negotiating, because as everybody knows, they've been negotiating probably since Indianapolis, since the NFL scouting combine. They obviously did not reach this. It's so crazy because 12 p.m. Eastern time is going to hit on Monday, and immediately we're going to hear about some agreements. And it's like they didn't come to an agreement in 5 minutes, obviously. So it's going to be a very, very busy week. Let me shout out some people here in the YouTube chat before we get into number 1. We've got Toxic Tom, Professor O, Double R in the chat. We've got Bruce. We've got Professor O. I think that I had already said hi. Joey Bella, Lance Bell, Gilbert Rodriguez, Mark Aaron. Thank you guys for joining the show both on Facebook and on YouTube. Make sure that you hit the like button because, as always, every like puts this show in front of more and more Cowboys fans. We've also got Sean and Mark. Thank you, everybody, for joining the show. All right, let's get to number 1, shall we? Let's get this started immediately. Prediction number 1 for the Cowboys free agency, and some of this might be controversial, some of these, and I included a conviction level for each of these. So let's get to number 1. Cowboys land a big name wide receiver in this free agency period. Now, here's where it's going to get fun. I'm going to toss for each one of these predictions the following question in the chat: most right or most wrong? At this point, ladies and gentlemen, I know that we don't get too sold on the Cowboys potentially making big moves, but I think this year might be the exception at wide receiver. This might be the most optimistic of my predictions tonight. I do confess that I know that there is a touch of optimism in that prediction, but here's my logic. The Cowboys have publicly admitted to their mistakes at wide receiver last year. That's a rarity for this Cowboys front office. Stephen Jones, Jerry Jones, they basically came out and said, we messed up with how we handled wide receiver. They moved on from Amari Cooper. They thought that Jalen Tolbert was going to be immediately ready, even though he was a third-round rookie. They thought that Michael Gallup was going to be healthier. So I think that the Cowboys publicly admitting to that mistake and the Cowboys heavily flirting with OBJ since last year means that they are seriously in the wide receiver market. So I think that they will actually end up doing it. I think that they will end up with OBJ or maybe with DeAndre Hopkins, or maybe not that big of a name. It could also be somebody like a smaller free agent out there. I want to say Juju Smith-Schuster, but I don't know if Juju Smith-Schuster is considered a big name. Mecole Hardman is obviously not considered a big name, but I think that they do get somebody at this stage of the offseason, because that's the other part of it. First round wide receiver is not gonna be a it's not likely that you'll find a top guy where you're picking if you are the Cowboys. So I'm guessing that they will recognize that there is not going to be another way to actually address the need for another wide receiver. And I do think that they are very aware of it, especially because Dalton Schultz might not be a wideout, but he's a pass catcher on your offense. You're also about to lose, apparently. So there you go. That's my number one prediction. Let's see what you guys have to say. Mo's right or Mo's wrong. Let's see here. Toxic Tom says Mo is already capped. Big for who's is toxic. Jeff goes with D-Hop. Mo's high, says Joey Bella. So there you go. Mo's right, says Catherine Jones. Bruce says, I want you to be right, but I don't know. BS is Army Mom Heather. Toxic Tom says, Mo, you spent more on that graphic than Dallas will spend on a legit wide receiver. We were on a hurry. Toxic Tom. I see the shade at my graphics tonight. They're not gonna get better. wait till I don't want to sound like old clickbaity, but we'll wait till we get to the number 5 prediction, and you're gonna see how much of in a hurry we were because didn't get the best of graphics tonight. I do apologize. Most right is Gilbert. Jeff goes with definitely right. Joe, Mark, Andrew. Man, the optimism is high tonight. I'm not gonna lie. I do admit there's some optimism to that one. Professor O says I kind of like the glow effect. There you go. There you go. These are not cheap graphics. They are glowy. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Number two prediction for the night. Oh, I didn't mention the conviction level just really quickly. 4 out of 5. That's the ratings that we're going to be using tonight. Conviction level for this prediction, 4 out of 5. Let's go to number 2 really quickly, and it's going to be the same question for y'all. Number 2, Cowboys cut running back Ezekiel Elliott. Conviction level, 3 out of 5. This is a weird one because I realize that at this point, this seems like a bold prediction. Like I am going against the reports on this one, apparently. Most right or most wrong, let me know in the chat. Do you think that the Cowboys will end up doing this? I struggle because I know that they like their guys. That's a quote that we always use around this place. And we know that Jerry Jones, Stephen Jones, they like Zeke. For some reason, they do. But allow me to lay out the facts really quickly here. The Cowboys placed the franchise tag on Tony Pollard. I know that the Cowboys are not maybe the most effective team at avoiding sunk cost, but I do think that the franchise tag will mean that the Cowboys will actually look at Tony Pollard as the number 1 guy on the team, because either Zeke is cut or he is forced to take a pay cut. It's one of the two. He's not going to stay on board with the same contract that he has right now. So Pollard is going to be undeniably the number 1 running back in 2023. That is based on his play And for the first time in his career, on his contract too, Pollard will be earning more than Zeke. So the whole narrative about Zeke being the number one guy because of his contract is going to be off the table now for Dallas. So I look at it from that point of view. Cowboys are not going to be, they're actually going to look at Pollard as the number one guy because they're going to pay him as the number one guy, even if it's a 1 year franchise tag. Now, that's the first part of the equation for me. The second part of the equation is that the Cowboys met with 6 running backs at the NFL scouting combine. Malik Davis is already a part of this equation. Rico Dowdle could be too if the Cowboys decide to re-sign him this free agency. So I don't know. Are the Cowboys meeting with running backs as a negotiation tactic with 6 agents, or what are they doing exactly here? Do they really want to have Zeke, Pollard plus a drafted running back? Maybe thinking about a long-term play there and moving on from Pollard next year. To me, at this stage, I am expecting them to actually cut Zeke this offseason. And I realize this might sound a little bit bold based on what the Cowboys have publicly said, but I'm going to go with cutting Zeke on this one. Basically, what I'm doing here is ignoring what the Cowboys have said and going with the facts. They've met with too many running backs heading into the NFL draft. They've tagged Pollard, and it just seems to me like Zeke is going to be the odd man out. Army Mom Heather goes with -5. Mark Aaron says Mo's wrong. Joe goes with Mo's wrong. Charlene Evans is wrong. Let's see here. Betsy Lance is by Zeke. Brooklyn Joe with an interesting one. He says right post Yoon first. That could be interesting. That could be interesting. Mo's right, says Professor O. He also adds there has been zero talk about his contract being reworked in the last 2 weeks. He is gone. Mo's wrong, says Mark Andrew. Yeah, and just to add to Professor O's comment, I will insist it's one of the two. Zeke is not sticking around with his current contract. It's a pay cut or a straight cut. But that contract is not going to stand in the season. Toxic Tom says, Mo, that makes too much sense, which is why they won't cut him. But I don't know. Listen, this front office, when it's been absolutely needed, they have moved on from some big names, right, in franchise history. Martin Williams says, first thing, cut the kicker, and second, cut McCarthy. Oh, damn. We're getting rid of McCarthy in the comments. All right. That's my number 2 prediction. Let's get to number 3, shall we? Oh, number 3 is actually a good one, I believe. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Number 3 is a good one. So before we get into it, actually, let me know, because this guy is a cover, is a thumbnail of the video. He's on the overlay. Let me know, what do you think? And we'll get to number 3. Does Donovan Wilson stick around for another year? Let me know if you think that Donovan Wilson is re-signed or if he leaves Dallas. Let me know in the chat. And while you do that, let me talk to you about our friends over at freemanmazda.net, because the ride of the week is here. Freeman Mazda, you can check them out over at Irving, Texas in their dealership. You can also check them out over at freemanmazda.net. We're talking about a family-owned business, has been so for over 65 years. And in their website, you can check out their wide range of new and used vehicles. And as always, you can check out the features of the cars. You can check out pictures of the outside and inside of each of these vehicles. And as we do around this time, every single night here in ADC Sports Dallas Primetime, we've got the ride of the week. And in this case, it is a 2023 Mazda CX-50 2.5 Preferred Plus all-wheel drive. Let's dive into the details. It starts at $34,075. It's got all-wheel drive, a Wi-Fi hotspot, which is a game changer, sunroof, Apple CarPlay / Android Auto, and a miles per gallon capacity of 24 when you are in the city. That goes up to 30 when you are in the highway. So make sure that you check out the Freeman Mazda Ride of the Week. So let's see. Do you think Donovan Wilson stays or leaves? Let's see what you guys have to say in the chat. I will give you my answer very shortly. Kay Francis says Wilson will be back. Alex Scott says pay Wilson and Trayvon Diggs now. Our Imam Heather goes with a 3. Professor Osa's 3-year deal for Wilson. Army Mom Heather goes with Army. What, what was that brain fart? Army Mom Heather goes with yes. Betsy goes with Dono, re-signed. Signed Dono, absolutely. Bruce says Dallas doesn't value safety enough. Toxic Tom says, no, nope, gone. I can't remember the last time Dallas paid a safety. Maybe Ken Hamlin. I'm going to go with my number 3 prediction of this show with Cowboys keep Donovan Wilson. That's my prediction. Conviction level 2 out of 5, though. Conviction level 2 out of 5. I'm not that convinced because, as Bruce and Toxic Tom have pointed out, Wilson is a safety, and the Cowboys do not value safeties that much. But here is the thing. Man, Quinn returned to Dallas for the 2nd consecutive year after being once more a top head coach candidate. Doesn't the guy deserve a welcome back gift? Wilson can be exactly that. Wilson played the 2nd most snaps on defense for the Cowboys last year. Only Trayvon Diggs played more than him. He outsnapped Jaron Kears and Malik Hooker. Wilson does it all for the Cowboys. If you think about it, Malik Hooker is a free safety, obviously. Jaron Kears is more of the box safety. Wilson seems to me like the most versatile of the 3. And what does Dan Quinn want in his defense? He wants that versatility. Israel Mukwamwa and Marquise Bell will play a factor in this conversation. But it seems to me like Dan Quinn will value Donovan Wilson too much, and they're going to convince him to stay. And I think that there are other big-name safeties in the market. So it's not like they're going to make him one of the highest-paid safeties in the NFL. I don't think that that's the kind of market that Wilson will attract. To give you an idea, he's not a top 3 safety per PFF in this year's free agency. He's the 77th overall free agent. So I think that he's not going to be priced out of range for the Cowboys. I think that there will be something that they can make happen, and I got Wilson staying in Dallas. A few weeks ago, or even a week ago, maybe, I thought that Wilson was a goner for the Cowboys. But interesting tidbit on today's free agency buzz article from Jeremy Fowler and Dan Graciano from ESPN, and Fowler included about the strong retention efforts. He said, watch out for Dallas and Donovan Wilson. They might get something done over there. So I thought that was an interesting nugget from ESPN. And that made me think about it. And I've got Wilson. I've got Wilson sticking around in Dallas. Let's see here. Marquise Bell being groomed, says the guru, to replace Wilson. Army Mom Heather says he fits best here with Dan Quinn, which will also play a role in Wilson's own decision. So that will be my number 3 prediction. Stays is Joe. Inez Gomez says hopefully he stays. Mark Andrew also goes with stays. Joey Bella says, I hope that we keep him, Mauricio. Sign him, but that's taking so long, says Mark Aaron. Katari Jones even said 3-year contract. That's what the PFF projects actually for him. He does project. They do project him to sign a 3-year deal. So that could be the right contract length that some of you have predicted in the chat. So I will agree there. Let's get to number 4. I'm not going to lie. Number 4 is not a prediction. Number 4 is a fact. And it's not really a re-signing kind of decision or even an outside free agent signing. But this is going to happen. This is a fact. You can let me know in the chat if Mo's wrong or Mo's right. But I've got a Dak Prescott contract extension coming. Uh, this is a perfect opportunity to get into some Cowboys news. The Cowboys opened up $30 million in cap space over the weekend. Just like that. Just like we predicted, honestly. Everyone did. Zach Martin opened up around $80 million in cap space for the Cowboys. Dak Prescott alone opened up $22 million. And many thought that I saw many reactions on social media on people saying that because the Cowboys restructured Dak's deal, they cannot extend him anymore. I think the restructure makes it even more likely that Prescott sticks around for a contract extension this very year. Here is why. Here are the details of Prescott's contract restructure. They took $29 million of his $31 million salary, turned it into a signing bonus. As a result, his cap number for 2023 went from $49 million down to $27 million. And although that sounds very pretty, and it is very pretty in my opinion, the 2024 number is big. It's $59 million in cap space. That's a result of, I can't remember the exact number, but it's $5 million in roster bonuses. It's $25 million of prorated bonuses in the books. And then whatever the difference is of that, it's like $30 million then. $29 million in salary. So you're gonna get almost a $60 million figure for Dak Prescott in the cap in 2024. I think that this is the exact year in which the contract extension is supposed to happen. And I think it's gonna happen. But restructuring Dak's deal buys them some time. It is not a priority anymore. They can go through free agency and they can figure out the details later, but they're going to get that done. They're not going to go into 2024 with Dak Prescott counting $60 million towards the cap. So conviction level for that prediction is 5 out of 5. Honestly, it does feel to me like 100 out of 5. I think that Dak contract extension is, like Thanos, inevitable. Most right, Professor O. Alex Scott goes with right. Bruce goes with right. Joey Vela as well. Thank you. Toxic Tom says, actually, Mo, I don't know about this. With what is going on with Lamar right now, I am very curious to see how this plays out. I like the speculation there. But I don't think that the Cowboys will be players in the Lamar Jackson sweepstakes. I'm very curious to see how that plays out too. But I don't see the Cowboys being a part of that particular conversation. Gilbert, Inez, Russell, Mark, Andrew, Mark say that Mo's right. So I appreciate it. This was the least controversial one of them all. Not mine says that's a given, Mo. Come on, give me something new and fresh. All right. Here we go. So we've talked about some of the most important names of this offseason, in my opinion. Prescott, Zeke, Donovan Wilson. And then we talked about, who else did we talk about? Who was number one? OBJ, Hopkins, big name wide receivers, which I think is going to happen. There are multiple other free agents here that we need to talk about for the Cowboys. So here's where I admit, as I always do with these kind of lists, I've cheated, ladies and gentlemen. I have cheated you, the primetime audience. I have lied to your faces, and I apologize for that. But number 5 is not really like one prediction. It's actually 10 more predictions because I have a quick prediction for the other top 10 free agents that I would consider the top 10 free agents for Dallas this offseason, excluding Donovan Wilson, because we already talked about him. So it's not Bobby Wagner. I'm sorry. The Guru. I'm sorry, Rolando. Who else? Chris. I am sorry. Russell. I am sorry. It's not Bobby. It's just the 10 top free agents for the Cowboys. This is in Spanish because I'm not gonna lie. Do you all remember that I told you that I was in a hurry earlier today? Uh, this is from my Cowboys in Spanish column over at adcsports.com. Which player is re-signed and which player is not re-signed? Top 10 Cowboys. Let's see what you guys have to say of these predictions. There are a lot of them, so let's go by one. Cooper Rush, is he re-signed or not? I'm gonna go with no. I think that the Cowboys know that his price is gonna go up, and I think this is a position that they can likely save some money. They can draft a young wide receiver, a young quarterback, maybe somebody like TCU's Max Duggan, maybe somebody like um, I forgot Stanford's QB's name. Cooper Rush, I've got him as a no. Leighton Van Der Esch. Oh, and by the way, a lot of predictions say no for Cooper Rush. I thought that you guys were gonna lean towards yes on Cooper. Joe goes with yes. Charlene Evans says no. Dwayne Brown says no. Those all seem correct, says Professor O. Let's go. Let's go. It's a good thing. It's a good thing that Professor. I like agreeing with Professor O. I like agreeing with Professor O. Let's see here. Yes, LVE is gone, says Craig Francis. I love that. I love that you all are dropping your predictions in there. Keep doing that. Charlene Evans says yes. Guru says Cooper will be re-signed. Leighton Van Der Esch. I've got Leighton Van Der Esch going back to Dallas. I've got him as a re-sign for the Cowboys. I know that we also think that he might be overpriced after a solid season, but it's a similar situation to the one that I found with Donovan Wilson. I think that there are many, many better free agent linebackers in the market, and I think that Van Der Esch's price is not going to be super high. So I've got Leighton Van Der Esch re-signing with the Cowboys. I've got Dalton Schultz not re-signing with the Cowboys. I don't think that that's a surprise to anybody. Cornerback Anthony Brown. No, not coming. Not coming back. T.Y. Hilton. No, T.Y. Hilton actually was a no. I'm sorry about that one. T.Y. Hilton, I actually wanted to put no. That's a mistake on my part. I need to edit that for sure. No, am I lying? Let me check my notes. Nope. Yeah. See, the thing is, you make a lot of decisions in these kind of posts, in these kind of videos. T.Y. Hilton is a yes for me, actually. But I struggled with him back and forth. T.Y. Hilton coming back to Dallas as a depth piece. But here's the thing about T.Y. That's where I got confused. Okay, I'm sorry for that. I should have included an asterisk there. I've got T.Y. Hilton coming back to Dallas late in the offseason, like very late in the offseason, near training camp. I don't think they will re-sign him immediately. We'll see if that happens or not. Anyways, let's get to the rest of them. I think it's raining outside. Kind of a random fun fact. Oh, no, it's not. It's my dog walking around. Connor McGovern. Surprisingly, yes. I think that if you move on from Connor McGovern, you're creating an unavoidable need at offensive line. And I don't think that you want McGovern to start for you next year, but you might be forced to re-sign him because you don't have another choice. If you move on from Connor McGovern, then it's likely either Tyron at left tackle and Tyler at left guard, or you draft an offensive lineman in the first round, whatever it takes. Whatever it takes. So I've got McGovern as a re-sign. He should be cheap. Anthony Barr, I have him as a no. George Edwards is gone too, so maybe that also has to do with it. Noah Brown, to me, is a clear no. Kellen Moore guy, more than anything. Dante Fowler Jr., I've got as a no. Sam Williams' season is here, I believe. And I think that the Cowboys can maybe add some other defensive ends in free agency, but I don't see Dante Fowler coming back. My conviction level on that one, though, is not that high, especially if you can get him back on that minimum deal once more. And Jason Peters, I've got him as a no. Jason Peters kind of hurts, but it might be Tyron Smith's role now, honestly. And I don't know if you can keep Tyron Peters and then likely draft somebody else. So we'll see. Connor McGovern, yes. Barr, no. Noah Brown, no. Fowler, no. And Jason Peters, no. From what I can see in the chat, most of you agree with me. The thing with Peters, K. Francis says, Peters is old. He's too old. And although I know what you mean, because it's true, I mean, he's going to be 41 years old. He played well. I mean, he was surprisingly good in 2022 for the Cowboys when he entered. I mean, as a swing tackle, considering his age and everything, he might retire. He might be done with playing, but not going to lie. His age didn't show up, in my opinion, even though he was not the same guy. Looks old, says Lance Bell. Maybe that's true. Like, he looked old. He didn't look like the same player as before, but he worked. I mean, he wasn't this liability on your offensive line, in my opinion. Yes, on Jason Peters till still comes back. That's a good point, though. That is a good point. Do you bring back Jason Peters as an insurance policy if Steele is not ready to go early in the year? And if he does come back, can he come back in a similar way that he did last year? Like, can you sign Jason Peters late in the offseason so he doesn't have to go to the offseason workouts and all of that? That might be it too. That might be it too. So those are my 5, which are really 15 predictions, including all of these players for the Cowboys free agency. It's going to be a fun week, I believe. It's going to be a fun week around the NFL. Cowboys free agency, though, is always this. It's a little bit anticlimactic because we know that the Cowboys usually stay quiet in free agency, so we might not see a lot there. Toxic Tom says, Mo, none of these players signal we are trying to get better, but tread water. Yep, that's true. That's true. Yes, don't make Peters go to camp, says Betsy. Yeah, I mean, sign him as late as you can, probably. That's probably what he wants, too. And that way you can see what happens in the draft. Like, you might get another offensive lineman in the draft, even if it's not for you to start him. Even if it's not in the first round, in the second round, you can add options. Ladies and gentlemen, those are my 5 predictions. So let's recap really quickly. I've got number 1 prediction. Cowboys end up with a big name wide receiver this offseason. Number 2, it was Cowboys cut Ezekiel Elliott. Number 3, Cowboys keep Donovan Wilson. Number 4, what was number 4? Dak Prescott's extension. Inevitable, 5 out of 5, and then those final predictions. I agree with Professor O. He says, I'd be happy if we just signed OBJ. Yeah, that would be my number 1 priority too. Like, OBJ, Hopkins, get the wide receiver here. Get the number 2 wide receiver here, because CeeDee Lamb has been very good, but you cannot have a similar situation than last year's that you had at wideout. No way. You need to help him out. You need to help CD out. And although you can bet that Michael Gallup is going to be healthier, you can bet that Jalen Tolbert is going to drastically improve. But those are 2 risky bets that I don't see the Cowboys being willing to make. We'll see. At least a sort of big name, right? Like, maybe not OBJ, maybe not Hopkins, but bring somebody. Hardman, Juju. I don't think that Jacoby Myers is going to be a real possibility for the Cowboys, honestly. So I will say that. I will immediately rule him out. I think that he's going to be overpriced for Dallas because I think that the floor is too high for him. Like, he is the safest option maybe this offseason. His ceiling might not be as high as some of these other guys, but let's see. Signing Hopkins is alchemy. And the thing with Hopkins, of course, is that it's not only about signing him, it's about trading for him. That is a problem. Cardinals are reportedly looking for a second-round pick to get Hopkins. I don't know if the Cowboys would do that. I don't know. We'll see. We'll find out, ladies and gentlemen. But tonight, that will be it for me on A to C Sports Dallas Prime Time. Make sure that you do a few things here. Hit the like button. That helps the show out tremendously on YouTube and on Facebook. Make sure that you hit the like button and you turn on the notifications for this channel so you don't lose out on prime time, and also you don't miss Skywalker Steele's morning show every Monday through Friday. And also check out a2csports.com/Dallas. And we're going to have a tracker in there set up. We're going to cover free agency in a very exciting way. So make sure that you check out a2csports.com as a whole, even like not only the Dallas website. Check it out entirely. There's going to be some fun content in there this week. I'm excited about covering free agency, and we'll see each other tomorrow. I think that we will have some news. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in. Prime Time, as always, presented to you by our friends over at FreemanMazda.net. Enjoy the rest of your Monday night, whether you're going to watch the Oscars or maybe you want to watch the Last of Us finale. I know that I will. Or whether you're going to see the United States go down against Mexico in the World Baseball Classic. That's me just talking some trash. I love y'all. See you tomorrow night. Nos vemos. Hasta mañana.